WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hanny time. Hanny time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hannegriff.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp, Dwayne Colucci with us at the bottom of the hour. See how the weekend went in Vegas and take a look ahead to the Sweet 16. We got Nick Saban playing disciplinarian. We've got some more certainty to the bracket that the LSU ladies will face over in Greenville, South Carolina. But first, we're talking about practice. LSU back on the practice field after spring break today. This morning's workout, Brian Kelly met with the media after that. So going to let you hear a couple of things that BK had to say. I'm curious about special teams, new special teams coach, such as it is, multiple special teams coaches, such as it is. Not really a new schematics as much as you can change special teams schematics, but certainly a change in their approach to that. Special teams were a disaster a year ago. Kelly had some ideas he wanted to share with us this morning.
So John Jancic will coordinate, which will be the voice of what we're doing. And we're not – I was really happy with our scheme. I thought, you know, as I did a deep dive on what we did special teams-wise, we fielded the ball poorly last year. We certainly, you know, we're in a position where a walk-on was our kicker, and he had his moments, but he had some big kicks as well. I thought our punter was excellent. Our long snapper was excellent. So when you talk about the individuals, we had to address kickoff return and punt return and who that person was, and I think we went out and did that.
I think special teams may be the easiest and hardest position to coach, especially on a college staff. The easiest in that the schemes are not terribly difficult. We're not talking about upper level football IQ required to play special teams in most cases. This is not stuff that's hard to pick up. A lot of it is common sense football stuff that's got to be reinforced. So of the categories, it's the easiest one probably schematically to get done. And then the other thing is, if you're a good special teams coach, you can motivate. We've seen the guy, and other than strength coach, which has got to be the big motivational screamer in the building, this is the one position where you do have to motivate a little bit, because you've seen the difference between good special teams and bad special teams a lot of time is not about schematics. Ain't that many things you can do, okay? Go down and tackle a guy with the ball. It's, do the guys that are on those units want to be on those units? And everybody plays it a little bit differently. Some people play a lot of starters. Some people play very few. But you've seen those special teams units that really get after it. So you got to be a motivator. The hard part is that you can do everything right as a coach, and even more so, I think, than the positions on the field. You can just have a specialist that makes a mistake. And if you're a special teams coach, you can coach the kicker to do everything right. He might shank a kick. You could, teach the punter to do everything properly, and he might shank a punt. You can teach the returners to do everything properly, and they might fumble a ball. And what do you do if you're a coach? The guy fumbles. Now this happens at other positions too, but I find it especially happens on special teams. So he's got to work through all of those things. The really good special teams coach have it all. They know the special techniques that you need to kick and punt a football, how you should, react on fielding punts, where you should be and all that. But they really motivate their guys to get down the field. Those guys want to play special team. It's kind of like rebounding in basketball. There's a lot of technique to it, but a lot of it is want to. Special teams is a lot of want to. We'll see how much want to that they've got. Kelly also wanted to talk about Denver Harris today.
You know, there's an affiliation with LSU here with the family. He had a lot of people speak on his behalf. He had a number of interviews with Coach House and myself, and we felt with the culture in which we have put together here that he would make it here because the culture is really strong. And it's proven to be that he's done well early on, and he has no choice. He has to make it. So here's a guy that has been given a second chance, and we feel like because of the circumstances, the culture is strong. He knows that this is really his last chance at an SEC opportunity, that it was worth the risk, and so far so good.
Kelly can, present it to him that way, and he is 100% right with what he's saying. It's a pretty good culture over there. They have done a real good job with that. He's right about this is probably Harris's last chance. But it's up to the kid. They can say that all day long. Like, how could you possibly blow this opportunity? Well, that's Jalen Carter. About 2 months ago, Jalen Carter looked like he was in very strong position to be the number one pick in the draft. We're talking about the defensive tackle at Georgia, okay? And what did Jalen Carter do? With essentially what you have, if you're in Jalen Carter's cases, you have a 3.5-month job interview. Everybody that's going to the NFL draft has a 3.5-month job interview from the middle of January when you declare or your season's over all the way through the draft itself. You got to go to the combine. You can go to one of the postseason bowl games. You go to pro day. But mostly what you do is, we used to talk about is like, go put them in the bubble wrap somewhere. Don't get hurt and don't get in any trouble. Getting hurt, sometimes that's just bad luck. We've seen a little bit of that too. What did Jalen Carter do? He went out, he broke the law. He broke the law in an incident that ended up being very tragic. How much of that was on him? That's still got to play out. Then he shows up for pro day, overweight, and can't even finish the drills. Now, Jalen Carter's going to get drafted one time, and he has cost himself money. I don't know how much money he's cost himself, but he has certainly cost himself money in the last 60 days. And he's got roughly 40 more to make good on that. But Jalen Carter, I'm sure, was pretty good culture over at Georgia too, right? I don't know how good the culture is inside the building. I know when they get on the field, they win a lot. So it was Jalen Carter's only chance to get drafted, and he's already cost himself some money. How about Tony Mitchell at Alabama? Now, here's a guy who is, was a highly recruited player at the University of Alabama. Plenty of those guys go there, win big, get drafted, make plenty of money. Quite certain they told Tony Mitchell there's a certain level of, responsibility here to doing this to be able to play here. What did Tony Mitchell do? Well, he went to Florida and he got arrested for speeding and possession of marijuana and carrying a gun. Now, that sounds bad. Let me tell you what bad is. Okay, if I just told you that and I moved on, that sounds bad. No. There's speeding. There's 45 and a 35, and then there's 78 and a 55 that when you see the police chasing you, you get up to 141. That's bad. Then when they catch you, you go from, did you have a little bit of weed? Were you doing a little bit of smoking? Or did you have enough to distribute? No, arrested for possession with intent to distribute. That's bad. I don't know, the quantities where the cutoff is, but if they catch you with a lot, they charge you with this. This is more serious than, regular possession. You got a gun? Probably not in your best interest if you're doing 141 miles an hour with a trunk full of hooch. But you know what? You can have a gun if you register it. Not registered to carry the gun. So, What does Nick Saban do? He comes out and he says, you know what? This is unacceptable, okay? There's no such thing as being in the wrong place at the wrong time. That was not a very well concealed shot at the basketball coach, Nate Oates, and the administration. You ain't got to be a detective to figure that one out. Now, why is Saban doing that? Why would Nick Saban care about what happened with a basketball player? Because I'm quite certain that Nick Saban is getting questions. And say what you want about Nick Saban, but anything that affects his recruiting goes to the top of his list of things that he's concerned about. If it's NIL and he doesn't have the funds that somebody else does, he goes to the biggest gathering of rich people in Alabama that he can find and says, y'all better get your checkbook out. So over the last however many weeks since the original incident, I'm quite certain Saban is being asked things by high school coaches, parents, recruits themselves. Hey, is the campus a safe place? You know, can I feel good about if I go to this school, am I in real danger? Is there the possibility that I'm going to go with my girlfriend to this trip and she's going to get shot and nobody's going to say anything at the University of Alabama? Is that hurting his recruiting? Bet your ass. I'm sure he's been asked why the administration isn't doing anything about that. And because he doesn't actually control the suspensions for the basketball team, much as he would like to do it, I'm sure, he's had to answer that without a real good, without a real good control over the situation like he has on virtually everything over there. I'm sure he's been asked, what would you do if this was one of your football players that was involved in this? And a good answer to the question of a coach or a recruit or a parent is, I would have acted more strongly. So he gets up yesterday and he acted more strongly. Why? Because this is affecting his recruiting. Now, this is not altogether a new thing for Saban, but it's not the way he's always operated. There have been Alabama players before that have been caught with drugs and guns in the car, and they served a 5-minute suspension. But this is different. This is more high profile. This is now affecting his current recruiting. So he went up there yesterday and said basically, you're never going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is about making choices. He and Oates probably not having dinner together anytime this week. Let me get out of the police blotter here for a second. LSU's women's basketball team will have a path to the Final Four that does not include going through a number 1 seed. Indiana lost last night 70-68 to Miami. This was a really, really good basketball game. We were doing the show at the Cook Hotel last night, and we were watching the game. Miami never trailed in the game. And the game was so good that I went home, when the show was over, I went home, watched the whole second half just to see how this thing was going to turn out. And I'm watching Miami, who I had not seen the whole year and knew very little about. And not only did they never trail, they made every big shot in this game. Their post player, Lola Pendande, made a bunch of shots. She was 7-9 from the floor, had 19 points, made 5 out of 6 from the free throw line. Haley Cavender, one of the famous Cavender twins, walked in here today and said, Haley Cavender made a shot. Taylor goes, yeah, I know her. Noted women's college basketball fan here, Taylor Sharp. And Destiny Harden makes the shot and then was a little bit explicit in the post-game interview. She makes a shot for the win. So I start watching this game, and I'm like, Miami's better. I mean, I know what Indiana seeded. They had only lost 3 games coming in to the tournament. I'm like, tonight, Miami's better. They're the team that deserves to win. Indiana played their hearts out, okay? It's a really good team. Crowd was into it. Great basketball game. And the Miami team was just better. So I'm like, is this Stony Brook? Is this a team that's underseeded? And I'm actually, like, hey, this would, be better for LSU. Maybe not. Maybe Miami's better. Indiana had only lost 3 games all season, but it looked like Miami was the better team. Miami finished 6th in the ACC. They were 11-7 in the ACC. They were tied for 6th. Momentum in the tournament is a tricky thing. If we knew it was hey, the team's going in playing well, that's going to continue. Miami got beat 26 points in the ACC tournament. Now, they got beat by a good team. They got beat 26 points. Virginia Tech's a number 1 seed, but they got beat by 26. I mean, they got run out of the building. They were behind 17 points to Oklahoma State in the 8-9 game before they rallied to win that one by a point. But maybe they took that momentum into this game and said, this is the level that we're capable of playing at. They play like that in the next game and the game after that, if it's still available for them, they're going to be a hard out. So all I know is that LSU's going there and they won't have to face Indiana to get to the Final Four. But that Miami team plays like they did last night. It'll be just as difficult to get there. Take a break. Mel Kiper's got his latest mock draft out. We'll touch about that. There's some interesting points in that draft, mock draft, that I want to discuss. And Dwayne Colucci at the bottom of the hour. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Acura and Infinity Pre-Owned out on Airline Highway. You know, I've told you that we had a great buying experience not that long ago, the latest of several that we've had there. Right now, Infinity Baton Rouge wants to buy your car off the street. You can get a quote in less than 15 minutes. And if you want to trade it in on another model, of course, you can do that. If you want to just sell it outright, that's okay too. There's no pressure to buy. But if you do get into the Infinity Pre-Owned Certified program, you're going to get enormous benefits out of that. First of all, these vehicles have been through a rigorous inspection, 167-point inspection, in fact, to make sure that they're up to code. Allow them to give you a 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. And first year of maintenance is taken care of. You get a courtesy car when you bring your vehicle in for maintenance, and roadside assistance is available there. It's a real easy buying experience. You tell them what you're looking for, age, mileage on the vehicle, what your budget is. They're going to put you in the vehicle that's perfect for you. Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
Hey, it's on. Join me for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Getting you ready for LSU in Central Arkansas. We'll chat with Glenn West of Go247 and Sharif Ishak from WDSU on the Pels. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 104.5 ESPN.com. You can also get the Hannycast there. Today's podcast will be dropped a little bit later this afternoon. We're going to do a little NFC South Would you rather. We'll take a look at the offensive position groups in particular now that the most of the wave of free agency is done. Mel Kiper posted his latest mock draft post-free agency. This is the one I always like to look at because you got a lot clearer view of team needs and how this affects, the Saints, LSU, and the top of the draft. First of all, he projects C.J. Stroud to go with the number 1 pick, and that's the guy I would take. Not that the Panthers are calling me, but I think he gives you a lot more. I just got a lot more confidence in his ability to stay on the field. I'm worried about Bryce Young the same way I was worried about Tua Tagovailoa and the smaller quarterbacks. Doesn't mean that Young is not a great player. Doesn't mean he deserves to go this high. I'm saying if I have my choice between the two, I'm taking Stroud. And the game against Georgia went a long way towards kind of, cementing that. But I do think that most of the people that cover the NFL and cover the draft especially think that Stroud and Young are going 1-2 in some order. Kiper thinks it's Stroud and then Young. So gives the Panthers if they take it, C.J. Stroud, Miles Sanders, they signed a running back from Philadelphia, Adam Thielen, probably now their number 1 receiver from Minnesota, Laviska Shenault, and Terrace Marshall, who we, of course, know from here. Is that good? C.J. Stroud, Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, Laviska Shenault, Terrace Marshall, or Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara / Jamal Williams, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Raheed Shaheed. Which one you like better?
Probably Saints. I mean, Laviska's nice. Stroud has potential for sure, but as of now, maybe the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints for sure. It all depends on C.J. Stroud. We don't know what he's going to be yet.
Next year, the Saints are better with this group. 4 years from now, when Carr's 35 and Stroud is 25, you would say, well, you should have gone back the year before, kept your pick. I bring it up because Carolina was picking 9th, the Saints were picking 10th before they traded that pick to Philadelphia. Would you have rather gone in this direction? A lot of people would have. I'll sacrifice next year. It's a little bit perplexing, though, that if they want to go with a quarterback like Stroud and they're willing to work through his development, Andy Dalton has signed there. Decent chance he will start the season, or at some point have to start games, that you would go with veterans like Sanders and Thielen. I would have figured with a younger quarterback, you might skew younger in your position groups, kind of let the groups grow together, but que sera. Kiper then predicts a trade. This makes sense as well. Indy moving up to get Will Levis, then Arizona trading back to get Will Anderson, and Seattle taking Anthony Richardson with the 5th pick in the draft. That would that'd be a pretty strong move by Seattle. If you look at the contract for Geno Smith, most of the guaranteed money's up at the front, so they could keep Geno, groom another quarterback, and Richardson, by all accounts, is going to need some time before he's ready to start in the league. That could work out very good for them. And then Jalen Carter 6th. As bad as Jalen Carter's involvement in what happened at the University of Georgia was, it is a charge that could end up being dropped he was not the driver of that vehicle. Point being that I think you may be able to get past the legal stuff. He may not have had as much to do with this as thought. As far as his draft, and they'll find out, believe me. The NFL investigators will find out exactly what his involvement is on this deal. But you show up for pro day and you can't finish the drills. We've heard about good pro days and bad pro days, but I don't know if I've ever heard about one where the guy he was too fat to finish. I'm sorry, that's going to go a long way. Two guys that could make a big impact, I think, in year one that are being moved down these mocks for different reasons. One of them is Jackson Smith and Jigba, who had a great second to last season for Ohio State, but caught only 5 balls last year because of a hamstring injury that would just never heal. He's projected to go number 20. He's got number 1 receiver written all over him. Had he come out last year when he caught 95 passes for 1,600 yards at Ohio State, I think he would have been a top 10 pick. You're getting him 10, 12, 15 picks later than he would have gone because he was hurt last year. But it wasn't one of these, he blew out a knee or is something that's going to linger forever. It was a hamstring injury. If they didn't abuse it, he's got a good chance to come back there. And the other is Bijan Robinson from Texas. You get a lot of range on him. Why? Because he's a running back. Running backs are devalued in the draft. That's just the way it is. McShay had him going at 10 to Philadelphia. Kuiper's got him going at 27 to Buffalo. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if, regardless of where he's drafted, he was the offensive rookie of the year. He, unlike the quarterbacks who may or may not start game one and may or may not be in and out of, in the lineup every week of the season, whoever drafts Robinson, he is their starting running back from day one. They're going to feed him the football. 4 years, they're going to work the hell out of him, and then they're probably not going to re-sign him. That's just how it is for running back. Sorry. But impact for next year, big deal there. The two picks at the end that got me interested, Darnell Washington to the Bengals at 28. Now, you want to talk about a good showing postseason? Washington showed up at the combine at 6'7", 264 pounds, and ran a 4.6 40. He is a monster. They didn't throw him the ball as much at Georgia as I imagine they will in the NFL because they kind of, they shared the wealth. But he is a physical freak. And if Joe Burrow gets that guy, I'm sure he'll get a lot of use out of him. The Saints pick at 29 was Brian Brzee, the defensive tackle from Clemson, 6'5", right at 300 pounds. A pass rusher, work in progress, good run defender, very active, good player. The Saints are probably going to have to go on that defensive line early in this draft, and Brzee would make a lot of sense at that point if they get him. Another note, not seeing B.J. Ojulari, who is LSU's top-rated prospect on most people's board in many of these mocks round one. LSU's had a first-round pick in each of the last 4 years and 9 of the last 12 drafts. So there's usually a guy that goes up there, but this year maybe not. You want to know the impact that Saban had on the program? Just look at the NFL draft. I'm talking about the LSU program. Saban got here in 2000, the NFL draft in 2000, just to give you an idea. In 2000, now he hadn't coached a game yet, but that first pick, LSU had 2 players drafted. 2. Mark Roman went in the second round. Rondale Mealy went in the 7th round. That was it. The first 4 years that Saban was here, these were the DiNardo classes that were going into the draft. 0 first-round picks. 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 0 first-round picks. Do you imagine now if LSU went 4 years without a first-round pick? Talent level would be, but then you start to get into the Saban classes. They started to get drafted, and that continued all the way through the Miles and Ogeron classes. 15 of the last 19 drafts have had at least one player from LSU, and they set a record after the 19 season with the most players drafted overall. So just a few notes out of the mock draft. We're getting closer, about 37 days, I think, today to the NFL draft and the start of the first round. Take a break. Dwayne Colucci when we come back. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
And Big Mike's got the music lineup set for the weekend. Thursday night, we're going Swamp Pop on Friday. The Honky Tonk Playboys will be performing live there. On Saturday, it's Jared Kelly. And on Sunday, Preston Wallace on the patio. And Sunday, you get happy hour drink prices starting at 11 in the morning. So if you're going, listen to live music, watch some of the sporting events, get some hot ball crawfish. Ball crawfish 7 days a week at Big Mike's. They come out at 11 o'clock every day. You know, you can always get off-site catering from Big Mike's. So if you want to rent one of their party rooms, they've got multiple sizes there for your private get-togethers. You can get taken care of at Big Mike's. Always looking for a good time with live music, great food and drinks, and a lively atmosphere at Big Mike's on Aspen Boulevard. We're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench.
Hanny Time.
Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting...
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR. LSU football back on the practice field, resuming spring drills. We'll hear from Brian Kelly, and we'll preview LSU baseball at the Box and Pels Spurs. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're down to 16 in the NCAA tournament. It was a great 4 days of basketball to watch. Watching out in Las Vegas at the South Point and the Rampart is our good friend Dwayne Colucci. Colucci, good afternoon. How are you?
What's going on, Charlie? Doing well. You know, trying to recover from that busy weekend. Just amazing handle and amazing crowds. We had guys from all over the country, Tennessee, Kansas, Baton Rouge. It was incredible. So just love the patronage and some good games. I'll tell you, this tournament really turned out like we've spoken about leading into it. You, me, and Jimmy, it's just there was no standout team, and that's proven right now.
You know, we kind of got wind of the fact that Saturday was probably a real tough day, one of the toughest for the public. Kansas, who arguably had the best resume going into the tournament, got beat. Texas, one of the hottest teams going, did not cover. Tennessee upsets Duke, and Duke is you'll get this right away. They're the Dallas Cowboys of public teams when it comes to college basketball. So I would imagine that the book had a pretty good day on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday was our best day of the whole weekend, and just the games you touched upon were the key factors, especially that Duke game. You know, when you watch them blow out Oral Roberts the way they did, and, you're winning 16 out of 17, 17 out of 18 coming into your next matchup, they definitely were a focal point. But as you can see in this tournament, it's all about levels of competition and who is battle-tested during the course of the regular season. It seems like the Big East really was a powerhouse conference now that you're seeing Xavier move on, Creighton play so well. I mean, Michigan State had to basically shoot the lights out to beat Marquette. So, that definitely was a conference that was more difficult during the course of the regular season. And how about this Ivy League Princeton? Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, to watch a team that comes out of an Ivy League, somewhat suspect competition at the basketball level or at any level, and they're able to move on, beating a team like Arizona that so many people, Charlie, were backing at my shop and at the South Point. I mean, maybe because we're just so close and it's a bordering state, but still, I mean, they had tons and tons of backing, and definitely, we spoke about that. So from a futures market perspective, we're sitting pretty good, and we did take our lumps. You did see that Chris booked that big, I think it was on Furman, that money line bet in the first round, and we paid out, 5 figures on a ticket on a $2,000 bet. So you do have people that are going to take these big underdogs, and that's what makes it so much fun. This time of the year.
Yeah, Furman was a big play down in Biloxi where we were, because when they won, the room went crazy, and you had a lot of people had them on the money line. A lot of people had them with the points. I'm going to describe two scenarios, and anybody that's ever wagered on a sporting event has been in probably both of these scenarios at some point in their life. You got one of these weekends where you just can't miss, okay? Everything you pick, every 50-50 ball goes your way. Everything's falling. It's utopia. On other weekends, you can't buy one. I mean, you just everything that can go wrong does. So I'm just thinking of these two guys, and there's probably multiple of both of these going into the last game of Sunday night. And the guy who can't miss, everything is going his way. He's got TCU. It's just a crowning achievement on the last game of the weekend. It just icing on the cake. And the guy who can't buy one had Gonzaga. You got to tell me what the sports book was like that old wide world of sports, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. You roll the ball three-quarter court with 0.7 seconds to go, and the guy picks it up and drills it to cover for TCU. Brutal or beautiful, just depending on your point of view, Kaluch.
Yeah, definitely. That works both ways. And we have a lot of people that are betting on Gonzaga. I'm not going to, their conference tournament is in Vegas every year. I'm not going to put a silver lining on that game. I mean, amazing shot where he's just letting the ball roll past half court, picks it up, drains that wild three. Book reactions all around town were mixed. You had people cheering. You got people that are going crazy. Actually, unfortunately, at the Rampart, we had to call security after that game because we had a few people that were going at it. John.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And that never happens at the Rampart. I'll be honest with you. But, we had some rowdy fans from, both sides there that were going at it. But that's what makes it fun, I'll be honest with you. We also had a big UCLA contingency, and that was another game where, they didn't cover against Northwestern. So, great matchups and definitely a lot of mixed emotions. That's what makes this tournament so great. A wild shot there to make TCU cover. Zags are playing a lot better than what I thought, Charlie. I'll be honest with you. I thought they would probably lose in the second round, but they're showing no signs of slipping up. I think it's like, double-digit years in a row that they've made the Sweet 16. So, great credit to that coaching staff and that college. They're very proud. And they always put forth a good product. So we're going to see how they play against UCLA. That's one of the marquee matchups that we're going to have amazing handle on that game, Charlie. I could tell you right now, looking ahead.
Yeah, that's at T-Mobile. This is kind of a historic weekend in Vegas because for so many years, the NCAA kept Vegas at arm's length. They were concerned about the sports wagering aspect of it, and the possibility that there would be, something that would go sideways on them. But obviously with the proliferation of sports wagering now, that's long in the past. And this is the first of what I imagine will be many NCAA tournament regionals and Final Fours in Las Vegas. But this is correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games this weekend. First NCAA tournament games in Las Vegas. Mini conference tournaments for the first NCAAs, right?
Yeah, and, it's great because we built this product, Charlie. I've been a bookmaker out here for in excess of 20-plus years. Chris, you know how long he's been doing it. Jimmy, basically, one of the inventors, his family, I learned from Eric St. Clair, whose father-in-law was Bob Martin, who actually was the first to put up totals when he and Lefty Rosenthal were doing things back in those days. And, it's so proud to prove that we built a legitimate product. And now everybody wants to get a piece of the action, and definitely gambling is no longer frowned upon the way it was in the past, even at the college level. You hit the nail on the head. College was the last sport that really, embraced us, and they were very leery just because you're dealing with kids who don't get paid, Charlie. So now, with everything coming full circle, we got the Super Bowl next year. The NFL totally embraced us. You know how great the NHL and the Golden Knights have done. That basically was the hinge point, was having your first legitimate team, not a transfer team like the Raiders or the possible Oakland A's. We have a product, a Vegas-born product. So, you put that all together, and yes, now we even have NCAA tournaments. I'm sure Allegiant will definitely get a final within the future. Like I said, you have the Super Bowl coming. It's just a great feel. And as a bookmaker, it makes you feel proud because we have a legitimate product. And we've proven that, and it took us 20, 30 years, decades and decades, but now we are a major sports city. Everybody wants to come here, and Vegas is proud to host it because we have the massive accommodations, Charlie, the fabulous hotels, the local places, the restaurants, everything. Las Vegas is now a premier city in the United States, if not the world, and always will be the gambling capital of the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, just one small thing, Kaluch, the players are getting paid. They were always getting paid. They're just getting paid a lot more now in college.
No, the college level.
No,
the college level. These kids,
they get paid. Believe me.
But I understand that. You guys live that, especially at the LSU, the SEC. Trust me, I know that. It's just, we don't see that and can't, address that. I'm sure there are things going on. We know that, but it's not like the pro level where you're dealing with a LeBron James or a Dak Prescott or something like that where guys are making $200 million. I mean, look at what Lamar Jackson wants, Charlie. And he wants to squabble while he's having a tough time looking for it. Aaron Rodgers as well. These guys are massively paid where you could have families and generations that are taken care of. Whereas a college player who's playing for Fairleigh Dickinson, Florida Atlantic, these kids ain't getting paid much, Charlie. I'll tell you that.
Not those, but can I introduce you to the Cavender twins? They're doing pretty well. They won with Miami last night. Anyway, let me get your thoughts on some of the games. One or two favorites, or one or two of your best plays. Favorites, underdogs, doesn't matter to me. Which that you like coming up in this round of 16?
Yeah, there's some fabulous games, I'll be honest with you. I like UCLA's chances. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I definitely think they are the better team in this matchup. We're seeing, good action on UCLA. We opened it at 1 at the Rampart and South Point, all the way up to 2, 145.5. I think UConn is really playing their best ball now, but Eric Musselman and Arkansas are so difficult. So that's a layoff game, I'll be honest with you. Arkansas also playing at a peak level. That's going to be one of the best matchups, I feel. Tennessee, I think we're going to get a lot of late action on Tennessee, 5.5, but I hate laying that number too, I'll be honest with you, Charlie. I think this Florida team has a definite chance. They are not overmatched. Houston has really flexed. I think they're really one of the cream of the crop teams. I love Alabama, even though San Diego State, they really came to play the last two games. And a friend of mine back on the East Coast, he said, Blaine, the word is out on San Diego State. This is a solid squad. I mean, I'll lay the 7.5 in this game, but it's not my favorite game. Creighton, I love Creighton. I think they're going to dominate. I think Princeton's run is finally going to come to an end. Like I said, I think that these Big East teams are just playing so well right now, and you're seeing that conference well represented, and I'll take the points with Xavier as well. I actually have a bracket, Charlie, that had Alabama and Xavier in the finals. So, not that I'm tooting my horn or saying anything yet, but I did anticipate supreme performances from the Big East teams. And like I told you guys, I made fun and you guys were making fun of me. It's great banter, but Alabama is tough.
That's the biggest, and we got a horn to toot for you, Kalush, so don't worry about that. The contrast in styles between Alabama and San Diego State could not be more drastic. Alabama wants to play as fast as you can go, pretty much, and San Diego State is the exact opposite of that. So we'll see, who wins out. You'll remember this game, Kaluch, back when Loyola Marymount was at their heyday. Right after Hank Gathers had passed, they played Alabama in the tournament, and Wimp Sanderson was so dedicated to slowing the pace down, they were passing up wide open layups just so they didn't get into Marymount's pace. I'm not suggesting that that's what's going to happen here, but I am curious as to who wins out, as to how that game plays from a pace standpoint, because they are totally different.
Yeah, and San Diego State could definitely force you to play that slow-down basketball. Alabama has to avoid that. They definitely just have to stay within themselves, keep sync, pass the ball around, look for the open shots, but don't get too complacent. This San Diego State team really plays a monster defense, and that's why you're seeing a 137 total on this game and 7.5 Alabama. So, we're going to see a lot of Alabama action, but San Diego State is in the Mountain West, so very difficult to anticipate what the public's going to do. The initial reaction was to bet it up from 7 to 7.5, but that isn't a major money move. And I remember that Marymount, when actually Bo Kimball was shooting left-handed free throws, that was a prolific offense. This Alabama team could also put up 90-plus points at times, and they're also a prolific offense. One of the best games of the weekend. We're going to see how it plays. Even though the spread is 7.5, some shops have 8. this is a tighter game, and I don't feel that Alabama is my best bet of the weekend. Like I told you, I would definitely bet more from my point of view on a team like Creighton or even Xavier, but great matchup there.
Colucci, we always appreciate it, man. We get to you next week. We'll be talking about the Final Four and how this weekend's games go. Thanks so much, my friend. We'll talk to you on Thursday night.
Sounds great, Charlie, and definitely have fun with the tournament and enjoy it. We got some great teams, and come out to the Rampart if you're in Las Vegas. You know how we do it.
Absolutely. Dwayne Colucci from the South Point and the Rampart. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll take a few questions before we finish up. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Well, you know what? Those games coming up this weekend. Love to see you out at the Barstool Sportsbook at LaBerge, Baton Rouge. You know, we love a lot of things about it, but, you know, you're never going to wait in line very long to make a wager. There's so many kiosks and windows that you can get to. Love the screens. You know, a lot of the places you go where you got the big screens up there, they'll be divided. You'll have the lines. This is a clear, perfect screen. You'll be able to see all of the games, and I know that they'll have LSU baseball on as well this weekend, so you can watch the basketball and the baseball at the same time. You enjoy great food like the herb-crusted chicken, Louisiana shrimp po' boys. If you're observing Lent, there's a lot of seafood options on the menu. You know, over 24 beers on tap, full service bar, phenomenal view of all of the games. It's time for hoops. We hope that you come enjoy with us this weekend at LaBerge. Early start. Don't forget on Thursday and Friday at 5:30, the Barstool Sportsbook at LaBerge, Baton Rouge. Must be 21 or older to enter. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Join me, Jimmy Out, and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Dozy Place on Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN is here with a $1 million bracket challenge powered by Acura Baton Rouge and Coors Light. See how you're stacking up and make fresh picks in a standalone bracket for the Sweet 16. The winner of this extra round will receive $100 in Pluckers gift cards. You must get your picks in before the first game on March 23rd on Thursday. It's the $1 million bracket challenge powered by Acura Baton Rouge and Coors Light.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time for a couple of questions. Brad wants to know, ask Hanny, what punishment did Nick Saban give to Cam Robinson and Hootie Jones? Were they at the wrong place at the wrong time? We talked about this a little bit at the top. No, he's very selective in his punishments. This, to me, what he did yesterday, it's the right thing to do, but Robinson and Jones, virtually, I think Robinson missed the first half of a game against nobody, and I don't even remember what he did to Jones, but it was nothing. It was nothing serious. No, this yesterday, this was a direct shot at the basketball program, and I bet whatever's in my pocket that it's because Saban has been asked questions over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever, about, hey, is it safe at Alabama? What's going to happen if my kid goes, to school there? Why isn't the administration doing anything? Are we going to be protected? What's the deal here? No, he wasn't very cryptic with that yesterday. Ask Hanny, will the Tigers get 2 out of 3 against Arkansas? Right now, and this is going to be a great series. Arkansas is ranked anywhere from as high as 3 and as low as 6, and they're at 3 and more polls than they're at 6. LSU has a tremendous advantage in one aspect against everybody they play. I can't imagine that LSU is an underdog when Paul Skeens pitches against anybody. I mean, at this point, I'd be willing to play the Padres with that guy pitching. So if you're that big a favorite in game number 1, the odds are overwhelmingly with you to take 1 or 2 in the rest of the series. Thanks to everybody for participating. For Mario and Taylor, I'm Charles Hannegriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer. 104.5 ESPN Baton.